We are live, guys. How are you? Welcome into a Wednesday episode of the Bostonian versus the Book. My name is Matt Perrault. We are live on our YouTube channel at Boston versus the Book. It's the same on Twitter and X. We're live on both of those, and then we're replayed late night, Sports Grid, television. Reminder, you can always get the show on podcast. If you have not listened to the audio, if you're missing any part of the show, always available there and always on our YouTube channel 24/7 for BVB. Good show today. Now, normally, we're doing Wednesdays with Adam Bjorn, but Adam is currently in the air. He's flying. He went to the game in Ireland, and he's flying back, I think, to Malta. I was texting with him this morning when he got on the plane, so I think he's flying back there. Tomorrow is a Bet Chris Arizona Thursday, so we'll do that tomorrow, which isn't that bad of a deal because that means I get to talk baseball again because yesterday was so good. I mean, so good. And we are doing it again here with the Cleveland Guardians. Ooh, almost said Indians. Guardians and the Tigers as the Guardians try to keep their season alive. It's Jack Flaherty. We'll get to that here in a moment, but we've got that game. Then we have 3 other elimination games today. Yesterday was awesome, but today's even better because today there are 4 teams that are trying to keep their seasons alive, trying to force a game 3, which hasn't happened much since we've gone to this format. The winner of game 1 generally has won game 2. In fact, 18 of the 20 series, the winner of game 1 has won the series. So even if it goes to a third game, if you win game 1, chances are you're going to advance to the divisional series, National League, or American League. So Tigers, Cubs, Red Sox, Dodgers, those 4 teams today are all trying to advance. So we got baseball. We've got some football news with the Browns that we'll get into a little bit. And the news of the industry, we've been covering the Massachusetts Gaming Commission's investigation into limiting players. Well, they came back with a finding that did not surprise many of us at all here with this. So let's get into it. I know there's a game going on right now, but the opening line, we have to take a look back at last night. It was so good. Let's do it. The 5 best things from yesterday, because there could have been 100, but there were 5 things that were basically historic that happened yesterday. Opening line on the 5 best things from the first day of the Major League Baseball playoffs. Can we talk about Ohtani for a second? I mean, this is ridiculous. The first time he's at bat this year in the postseason, the first time the Dodgers are at bat for this postseason, Shohei hits the hardest ball ever recorded by the StatCast era. The hardest hit ball. I mean, are you kidding me? What is this? First time up, hardest hit home run off a 100-mile-per-hour pitch. It was 100-plus coming in. It went out at 117.7 miles per hour. I mean, absolute moonshot. Just an absolute laser from Shohei Ohtani. But he wasn't done, by the way. We'll have more on Ohtani here in a second as to what he did yesterday for the Dodgers, because it was truly amazing. Number 4, Tarik Skubal was unbelievable. He was dominant. I mean, Williams was too. I don't mean to totally discredit what Williams did yesterday because his defense let him down in that 2-1 loss. It wasn't his fault that the team didn't win that game. He was electric, but Skubal was Skubal. Most strikeouts in a start in his career, tied for the most strikeouts in a start in Tigers postseason history. 14 Ks for Tarik Skubal. And you put your team in position. Now, unfortunately, he hands the ball off to Jack Flaherty today. Okay. There is quite the drop off from Skubal to Flaherty when it comes to the talent on the mound today for the Tigers. But look, you got to give credit where credit is due. That's a hell of a performance by Skubal. The Guardians have their backs against the wall. They are at home, and they have Tanner Beebe throwing, and the team has won the last 3 starts by Tanner Beebe. He has a sub-2 ERA in the month of September, so you hope that he continues to pitch well. Neither one of these teams can hit. I don't know how you don't bet the under in this game. I have, but it's getting really low. I mean, you might be able to get a middle on this, but this is a game in which we have offensively challenged teams all over the place. So we'll see how this game winds up going, and we'll pay attention to it. I'll give you updates throughout the entire show on the Guardians and the Tigers in game number 1 if you guys are not watching it. Number 3, first pitch, pinch hit, go-ahead hit for Yoshida for the Red Sox. I mean, are you kidding me? Masataka Yoshida became the first player in Major League Baseball history to have a go-ahead hit with his team trailing on the first pitch he ever saw in his postseason career. Pinch hit, 1 pitch, single in a 1-0 game puts the Red Sox up 2-1. I mean, are you kidding me? This is like, I mean, Yoshida had a really up and down year. He was injured for most of the year. The Red Sox did not know really what they were going to get out of him in the postseason, and they get a historic at-bat by Yoshida. I mean, first player in the history of Major League Baseball. Talk about not waiting around and just go ahead and firing it. Oh, is it Miz today? Did they change the starting pitching? It's Mize today. Oh, it's Mize today. I thought Flaherty was pitching today. That's my bad. Sorry. I thought it was Flaherty. I still wow, I got to check. Well, did I bet action? I think I bet action. I'm on the Guardians today. I think I bet action. I bet on a book that has action, so it doesn't matter with the swap from Flaherty to Mize. Still like BB over Mize, though. So no, that was number 3. Number 2, how about Chapman? Bases loaded, no outs, in a 3-1 baseball game, and the Yankees don't even score. The Yankees don't score at all. I mean, bases loaded, no outs. More history. Not only did Yoshida make history, how about this history? The Yankees became the first team in Major League Baseball postseason history to have the bases loaded with nobody out in the bottom of the 9th inning and not score a run and lose the game at the same time. I mean, that is incredible. When you stop and think about that, they had a shot on a sac fly to right where maybe they could have sent the runner. But if the runner gets thrown out there, the game's over. So that's why the Yankees did not go ahead and send the runner from third on that sacrifice fly. And then, my gosh, 101 mile per hour pitch from Chapman gets it done. What a comeback by Aroldis Chapman last night for the Red Sox. And that was only topped by the performance by Garrett Crochet, who threw 100 miles per hour on his 117th pitch of the game for his 11th strikeout of the game. I mean, you want to talk about ace stuff. You want to talk about, Hoss, get on my back, boys. We're not losing. Garrett Crochet, how about this is an awesome stat. As he retired 17 Yankees in a row to end his outing, Garrett Crochet went 2 full hours without allowing a Yankee base runner. 2 full hours. He didn't walk anybody. First playoff start of his career, and he does that. He does that. 117 pitches, final pitch at 100.2 miles per hour, tied for the fastest pitch of the season for Garrett Crochet. This is what pitchers used to do, guys. For you youngsters, Skubal and Crochet, that is what pitchers used to look like in the playoffs. They take the ball, they go 7-8 innings, and their managers leave them in the game. More on Aaron Boone here in just 1 second and Max Fried, because we were talking about Max Fried and what he looked like, because he was dominant. I mean, he was incredible. By the way, the Guardians have already made an error. Great. Error led to the run yesterday. Second baseman boots a grounder in the top of the first inning. That's not the start you wanted if you were a Guardians fan or a Guardians backer. Guardians defense, man. What's going on? That's what made them so good. Yikes. But I mean, you look at the dominant pitchers of my time, of my life, the Pedro Martinez's of the world, right? The guys that you had to pry off the mound if you were trying to take them. After the game, Alex Cora said that Garrett Crochet told him there is only 2 pitchers pitching today, me and Chapman. That's it. And Cora was like, okay. That's not analytics. That's not a computer program. That is a manager knowing his player. And even when there's a little bit of trouble, trusting in your pitcher, trusting in your talent, not what a computer algorithm tells you. So many baseball teams, and the Yankees are victim of it, they do not trust the guys on the mound. They want to go to the bullpen immediately. Baseball used to be about talent, about studs starting pitching in the postseason. That's why you couldn't score, because the best pitchers, normally those teams, were in the playoffs, because those guys would go 7, 8 innings every 5 days. They were not guaranteed wins, but you were guaranteed to be in the game. In 1999, when Pedro Martinez pitched, the city of Boston shut down. Everybody knew. Everyone knew it was Pedro Day. It was incredible. I'd never seen anything like it. That's what baseball used to be about, and we got to get back to it. You know, I was at my physical trainer yesterday. Another error for the Guardians. Oh, my. Booting the ball around in the first inning. Boys, you want to go home or do you want to play baseball? Yikes. So, and he's blaming the sun. Okay. He asked me about the 100-mile-per-hour pitch. And he said, do you think that the gun is different now, or the mechanics are different now that allows pitchers to pitch 100 miles per hour? And my answer to him has always been, I think guys know they're coming in for a short period of time, so they unload. They just throw as hard as they can, and that's why they could throw 100 every time, but they couldn't do it for 5, 6 innings. So they know they're only going to pitch a couple innings, maybe 1 or 2, so they come in and throw 100, and they unload, and they work on unloading all the time. They build up that strength in the arm and the stamina to be able to do that. That's my theory. The gun might also be played with as well, because baseball plays with everything, as we know. They play with the baseball, they play with the guns. We don't know what they're doing. But I bring that up because 100 miles per hour on the 117th pitch for Garrett Crochet is not what you would expect in today's day and age. The Red Sox have a monster investment in Garrett Crochet. They're giving him millions and millions of dollars. They need him for the long term. But they let him go in a game because it's today. Pro sports are about today. Forget tomorrow. That's why the Red Sox, Yankees, all the big name, big market teams always trade away prospects, because it's not about the prospects. The prospects, you worry about prospects when you play in, Dave, I'm not trying to make fun of you, but Pittsburgh, okay? That's where you send prospects. That's where you worry about prospects. And that's why everyone says that eventually Paul Skeens will be with the Phillies, Red Sox, Yankees, Cubs, Dodgers, somewhere in that range, because they're going to give them give the Pirates a gigantic package of huge prospects. And they're going to say, okay, let's take prospects because they're cheap, and hope runs eternal. Every one of those cities is like, wait, this young kid could turn out to be the next blah, blah, blah. Garrett Crochet turned the clock back. Skubal turned the clock back. Can we go back to that, please? Can we go back to pitchers pitching? Can we get out of this ridiculousness? Because I'm not advocating anything in terms of firing Aaron Boone, because I love Aaron Boone right where he is. Leave Aaron Boone right there. But my God, Aaron Boone, this new way of doing baseball, I'm not down, I'm not in, and I want no part of it. That headline's what happened last night. Aaron Boone against Alex Cora was a complete mismatch. And I mean a complete mismatch. And today, Aaron Boone, he better win. Because if he doesn't, I'm not sure Aaron Boone has a job. I mean, there's some real anger going on right now. I mean, Nick Sogard became a hero for the Red Sox, taking second base with an unbelievable single, stealing second and third. That's what led the Yoshida single to get the Red Sox to 2-1 lead, ultimately winning the game 3-1. Michael Kay, the most lover of Yankee lovers, bashing Aaron Boone on his show after the loss. Aaron Boone telling Yankee fans that Max Fried, quote, gave us what we needed. They pressured him pretty good in the fourth and the fifth and the sixth. So, yeah, we went to our bullpen, which then gave up 3 runs and lost the game. Wasn't Max Fried's fault. Max Fried was great. Max Fried was, I mean, we would have this conversation. Fried would have been part of the Skubal and Crochet conversation about just dominant performance, just absolute epic performance on the mound that you look at that and you're like, my God, that was incredible. You heard Mark Zinno yesterday from Sports Grid and ESPN Radio talk about earning your pinstripes. Yankee fans were wanting to see what was going to happen with the performance from Max Fried in pinstripes. Yankee Stadium, Game 1, must-win game. We know what happens. When you win Game 1, you generally win the series in these wild card rounds. So, huge opportunity. And he went and got him when he was mowing down Red Sox batters. Red Sox fans like me, we were ecstatic. I literally tweeted, I can't believe Aaron Boone's pulling Max Fried. I couldn't believe it. Every Red Sox hitter was like, let's go, boys. Here we go. The Yankees bullpen sucks. On what planet does going to the bullpen make any sense? Oh, they're getting close, though. Yeah, that pitch count's a little high. We're going late into the game. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that little computer algorithm. Yeah. That guy is raising his hand saying, hey, Skip, you should go get the manager. Go get the pitcher. You're the manager. Go get him. Get the bullpen in here. Analytics say this matchup's good. Really? Okay. Alex Cora just went ahead, pinch hit, move guys around. It was chess versus checkers. Like it was Alex Cora's won a World Series for a reason. More recently than the Yankees have won a World Series because he understands how to move these guys around and what to get. Every button Alex Cora is pushing right now for the Red Sox has worked. Now we'll see what today, but in Game 1, they all worked. Everything. Leaving Crochet. Chapman for a 4-out save. You don't think people would have ripped him for that? Chapman had 1 4-out save all year. And they asked it in Game 1 of the playoffs. They asked Chapman to get a 4-out save. Not sure that happens again in the playoffs for a while, if not until the World Series, if and when the Red Sox ever get there. I doubt Chapman has a 4-out save in him. Not today. I know for a fact he won't have one today. He may have a 3-out save in him, but he won't have a 4-out save in him at all. Aaron Boone, it's unbelievable watching the ineptitude, watching his, he must have something on him that comes from Hal Steinbrenner in the front office that tells him what to do. Because anybody with a pair of eyes is watching Max Fried and they're going, you're leaving Max Fried in the game, right? Like we're not taking Max Fried out. Like, what are we doing? We can't take him. He's unhittable. The Red Sox are befuddled. Let him go the whole damn game. Complete. This is the playoffs. What are we doing? This is your season. Who cares about what the analytics tell you? And Aaron Boone he didn't even go to the right reliever. Like he brings in the wrong relievers. He brings in the wrong guys. He brings in, gas cans. It's a little brush fire and he pours gasoline on it and lets the Red Sox score 2 runs, go up 2-1. And then again, an insurance run rather for the Red Sox. And they go up 3-1. I mean, Chapman had the bases loaded. He wasn't even sweating it all that much because he was like, all right, you get a sac fly. Who cares? I'm going to strike everybody out and we're good. And he did. And he did. That's what he did. It's what Chapman does. Guy's amazing. Aaron Boone, you got 2 games, buddy. You better win them both. You lose today. Goodbye. I think it's finally it. I think Yankee fans have finally had it. I think even Hal Steinbrenner will have to recognize that Aaron Boone's coaching for his job today. The Red Sox win, and they're throwing Brian Bayo, and I don't like what the Red Sox have tomorrow. So I'll tell you right now, I picked the Yankees in 3, not really shying away from that. They had to win yesterday because it was a Crochet start, so they won that. I don't like the pitching matchups all that much for the Red Sox the rest of this way, okay? If it was Giolito and then Bello, I would feel much better. But it's not Giolito. He's hurt. Now it's Brian Bello, who will have the biggest start of his career. And by the way, the Guardians got out of it. That's good. 0-0 as we head to the bottom of the first inning. I like BB a lot. He's been a stud. I'm just very concerned as a Red Sox fan. I'm telling you right now, I'm very concerned about the pitching. Okay. This is going to be interesting to see what happens. Okay. Carlos Rondon can be electric at home. He can be unhittable at home. The Red Sox have got to him, but Rondon can be unhittable. He's really, really good. So if he throws like Fried threw yesterday, Red Sox might be in trouble here because I think Bello is going to give up at least 3 today. So that's why the total is 7.5. It's elevated a little bit here on that. But hopefully Aaron Boone keeps on doing Aaron Boone things and Alex Cora keeps on pushing all the right buttons. How about Ohtani? Let's talk more about what that guy did yesterday. I still like the old one. I like that one over the new one. I don't know why. Maybe I'm nostalgic. Ohtani watch. Not only did he hit 2 home runs, but both home runs made history. We showed you in the opening line the first Ohtani, where in the StatCast era, 117.7 miles per hour. It got out of the building in a blink, but it wasn't just that home run that was historic. It was his second one too. His second one was ridiculous. His second one, a 454-foot blast. That's the farthest home runs by a Dodger in the StatCast era dating back to 2015. 2 home runs for Shohei. A laser and then an absolute blast for the best player of my lifetime. Ohtani's the GOAT. Like, in my life, I'm 48. There is no better baseball player than Shohei Ohtani. And he proves it time and time again. And the Dodgers decided to show everybody that when their lineup is healthy and their lineup can hit, look out. They put up 10 runs and it was kind of easy against the Reds. I mean, Hunter Green is a pretty good pitcher, and Ohtani just made him look like a batting practice pitcher. Like, he is the definition of in scoring position at home plate. Like, that is the definition of what Ohtani is. Amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. Yeah, the Dodgers bullpen is their Achilles heel. There's no debate about that. And that could cost them against the Phillies in a 5-game series. Let's see what happens. But Ohtani's going to pitch. So you got to feel like it's insane, right? You're like, yeah, he hit 2 home runs yesterday. But, oh, yeah, by the way, he's going to pitch game 1 because that series is over today. The Dodgers are winning today. So, game 1 will be Ohtani throwing against Philly. It just sounds silly saying how dominant that guy is, but the bullpen definitely got me a little nervous. I was on the run line for the Dodgers last night. It was 10-2, and I was counting it as a green check mark. We're all good. We're cashing that. Whoa, wait a minute. Bases loaded. And they were one big fly away from making that very interesting. And they just couldn't get the best hit. They couldn't get that hit that they needed. They walked in a couple of runs, but 10-5 final for the Dodgers to get that win, to go up 1-0. We are not forgetting about the Cubs. I don't mean to totally gloss over the Cubs, but back-to-back home runs in the 5th inning, and that was all they needed. 3-1 win for the Cubs yesterday. And the Padres, look, if they don't score, they're not going to win. Now, I know that sounds kind of silly, but they have to win a high-scoring game. Like, if the game's high-scoring today, the Padres will win. But their bats, again, Machado and company, like, you just kind of look around and you're like, where is the offense for the Padres? It just seems to disappear in the postseason. And that's because of the pitching and the moment and the energy, and you're on the road, and the Cubs are one of the best, if not the best team in Major League Baseball at home. That's why I backed them yesterday. That's why I'm backing them again today. Like, I don't think this thing goes to 3. I think the Cubs win the game here today. And I think if you look at the way the hitters were approaching yesterday, I mean, once they went back-to-back, and Suzuki has hit a home run now in 6 straight games. So you got to watch out for that guy. He's on fire today. So you look at the power that the Cubs have, the home runs the Cubs can hit at Wrigley Field, and that's what makes them so dangerous. If the Padres don't match it, goodbye. Your season ends. And they made some huge additions and some really big changes at the trade deadline, but it just feels like the Padres have run into the wrong team here, having to go to Wrigley to play this best of 3 series and losing game 1, 3-1. I don't know how much energy or excitement or confidence I would have as a Padre fan going into today. It kind of feels like this is going to be open and shut here. Cubs win, Cubs advance. So I'm on Chicago today to go ahead and advance. Big shout out to the Aces, who will play for the WNBA title again. They had a huge crowd here in Vegas for that game 5 between Indiana and Vegas. The Fever, I mean, that team, they lost another star player last night due to injury. Obviously, no Caitlin Clark, no Sophia Cunningham. I mean, they were just a walking wounded bunch who wouldn't die. They're like a zombie. They just wouldn't go away. And they kept on pushing Vegas, got to overtime, kept on pushing Vegas. And then Vegas just finally, the game went woefully over. I bet the under in that game. Dead wrong. Game flew over. And then the overtime obviously killed everything. But it went over before overtime. It was just not a good bet to bet the over. I had 158.5. I think the in-game total was like something like 210 or something. It was ridiculous. I was like, okay, that was dead wrong. But Vegas now goes. And this is a pretty cool stat that I saw this morning from Front Office Sports about Las Vegas. And it's something that I think the Raiders and the A's need to pay attention to. The Aces were the first WNBA team to sell out every season ticket for back-to-back seasons. They sold out in back-to-back seasons. Wow, home run Guardians. There we go. Guardians get on the board first. If you bet the Nerfy, sorry. You lost that. 1-0. Guardians, solo shot. After being around 500 for most of the season, and we talked about them, they were struggling. 16-game win streak for the playoffs, and now they are back in the WNBA Finals, playing for their 3rd title in 4 years, which is my definition of a dynasty. And if they win this, there's your dynasty. Asia Wilson is building a Hall of Fame career if she doesn't already have one. This will only help as to what she has done. She's the best player in the W, got the best coach in the W, and they figured it out. And Becky Hammonds has her team poised. And I haven't seen the numbers. If somebody could pull that up, let me know. Find okay, there it is. Phoenix are short, plus 120. I was surprised. I thought Vegas would be a huge favorite, because I've got a 3-1 ticket on Vegas to win the WNBA championship. Like I told you guys, the 4 previous teams to go on a 15-plus game win streak in a regular season have all won the championship. So I bet Vegas at 3-1 to win the WNBA championship. So that looks decent. And I was curious how big of a dog what would the Phoenix Mercury be. And I was hoping for like plus 150. I was hoping for a big ticket, then a hedge and go the other side. And then I would just have a 2-1, just go ahead and guarantee myself I can't lose in case Phoenix wins. But no, amazingly enough, that's not what's happening here. It's a tighter series than what I thought. 7-game series, 3, 5, 7 as it goes in the W. So 7-game series for the championship. And I mean, the travel is wild. I mean, this is a quick flight between these two teams. I mean, Vegas was playing New York and, taking on teams on the East Coast normally in the WNBA Finals. This is Phoenix and Vegas. This is just a quick, half-hour flight back and forth. So huge news there. And it's also a half-hour flight for the fans. So I would expect a lot of Aces fans to be in Phoenix, and we'll see what Phoenix fans do if they can get tickets to come on up here to watch the WNBA Finals. But I mean, that atmosphere last night was awesome. Tickets were expensive to get into that game on the secondary market, and that's cool. And if I'm the Raiders, if I'm the A's, I'm paying attention to what is going on with the Aces and the Golden Knights. I know it's easy to say winning cures everything, but there is a real big issue here in Vegas with the Raiders. 50% of the tickets sold went to Bears fans last Sunday. 50%. Half the building was filled with Chicago Bears fans because once the Raiders lost to Washington, everybody got out of their tickets because they knew Bears fans wanted to come to Vegas to watch their team because their team had just gone and had a really good performance on national TV. And Caleb Williams threw for 4 touchdowns, and everyone wanted to come and watch the Bears against the Raiders. So Raider fans sold all their tickets. And now the Raiders are sitting at 1-3, and the Raiders have a road game this coming weekend. And the Raiders are in a very precarious spot. And I know that Pete Carroll's not trying to lose, but Geno Smith is a disaster. Tom Brady has to know that Geno Smith is a disaster. He can't stop throwing interceptions. And the team, the offensive line's okay. Ashton Genty scored 3 touchdowns last weekend. 3. So obviously he's doing a big thing. So Ashton Genty is not the problem. The problem is the quarterback. And the problem is the offense right now. So if you're looking at the Raiders and the fact that they haven't won anything really since they've come to Vegas, then you go to the A's who are moving here, and you look at the A's and you're like, okay, what are you guys going to do here? Like, what are you going to do in Vegas? Because if you don't win, no one's going to show up. The Aces have won. Okay. Yeah. When the A's come here, it's going to be a ghost town. On a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when 2,000 or 3,000 fans for the A's show up, you better hope that you're playing those games against like the Giants and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks and the Angels and the Rockies and like the other fan bases that might want to come to Vegas to watch the A's. Or Nick Kurtz and company need to get good. And the A's have a young, really fun lineup. And the A's AAA team, I think they won the championship, or they played for the championship, the AAA championship. They played for it. They got a lot of young talent. The A's are talented with youth. Okay. You got to get that up to the big league level, and you got to be competitive. Because if you're competitive, this town is going to show out. Okay. They have completely embraced the Aces. They have completely embraced the Golden Knights. And so if you win, people will show. I know that's the case everywhere, but this town in particular, because 2 of the 4 teams here have won championships. And the Raiders and the A's are a long way away from winning any championships anytime soon. Got to build championships. Got to build winners. Golden Knights are going to be good again. The Aces are playing for their 3rd title in 4 years. We'll get more into the WNBA Finals a bit later on once we get closer to game 1. All right, let's talk today. Padres, Kittredge. I told you I'm taking the Cubs today. You get plus money on the Cubs, and I think it's a good play here with the Cubs at home. The number, minus 115, minus 105. You may get an even money in the market. You look around, but I like the Cubs. And I mean, Dylan Cease, he has not had a good year. Bloated ERA. The team has not won for him all that often. They've lost 3 of the last 5 games in which he has started. Kittredge is basically an opener for the Cubs, but I know that can be a little bit damaging. It was supposed to be Imanaga, and they went ahead and switched over here with the Cubs. But I like Chicago today. Total is 6.5. That's almost like a principal play to bet the over at Wrigley when it's 6.5, just because the home run potential is so high. That game was 3-1 because the home runs were hit with nobody on base. They went back-to-back solo shots, and the Padres did nothing. I mean, they did nothing. They tied the game at 1, or no, it was 2-0, and it was 2-1, and it was 3-1, and it was final. So maybe we go under again today, but I would lean towards the over in this game. I think the best bet in the game is just taking the Cubs. We've seen it far too often. The team that wins game 1 far often more 18-2 to win the series, and we don't go to game 3s very often. Cubs today. I like the Cubs on the money line to win today. Red Sox against Rondon is, look, I love Brian Bayo. I think the guy's a baller. He's a gamer. He's a young pitcher who the Red Sox are going to have part of their rotation for a long time, but he's a back-end starter. He's a 4th or 5th starter. On a championship caliber team, Brian Bayo is the 5th starter. He's not the second guy up. He's not the guy you throw here. The Red Sox bullpen is, Whitlock didn't pitch at all yesterday. So the Red Sox have a bullpen that they can go to if they need it. So I would expect a quick hook on Brian Bayo today if things don't go well for him early. Now, he's been called like the baby Pedro, and Pedro has taken him under his wing and whatnot. He's not the baby Pedro, but he can at times. He can dial it up at times. Oh, how about that? That's a great trend. Padres are 1-8 in Cease's last 9 road starts versus a team with a winning record. Very specific King D sports betting, but yes, I like it. Oh, and here you go. They're 1-6 in the last 7. Yeah, I knew that. Padres have stunk in the playoffs, but it's more Dylan Cease to me. Give me the Cubs. I think the Yankees win today, but I thought the Yankees were going to win yesterday. So, because I thought that Crochet would get hit. Well, he shut me up. Crochet did not get hit at all. He was incredible. And so what happens today? I think there's going to be a pretty impressive. Let's say this. If the Red Sox score first, this has been the case at Yankee Stadium for a while in this series. Boston is 10-4 against New York straight up this year. And I know I'm going back to history, but in 2004, just hear me out for a second. When the Red Sox went back to Yankee Stadium, they were still trailing 3-2 in the American League Championship Series. The reason why Game 6 and Game 7 went the way that it went was because, well, one, in Game 6, they had Pedro Martinez throwing. They had Curt Schilling throwing in Game 6, and then they had Derek Lowe throwing in Game 7. They scored first in both those games. And then they blew it open in Game 7 with the grand slam by Johnny Damon, which made it 7-2, and that was all she wrote. And that was the first time I actually thought the Red Sox were going to do that and complete the greatest come-from-behind victory in the history of sports. Was that Johnny Damon grand slam. Red Sox scored early. If they score first today, if they put pressure on the Yankees early, if Rendon gets hit early, and his ERA against the Red Sox is not good, okay? But he's a talented lefty, and he's much better at home. I don't know. Boone was also there, yes, but that was 2003. Aaron Boone beat the Red Sox. 2004 was the collapse. I just think it's an interesting look because of the pressure on Aaron Boone in that building. I was drinking the tears of Yankee fans on social media by the gallons last night. That was some of the most fun I have had in a long time on social media. I didn't even need to repost it. I didn't even need to comment all that much, although I did a little bit. But it was hysterical. The amount of walk-in talk videos I saw from Yankee fans ranting about Aaron Boone was awesome. I mean, even if the Red Sox lose this series, just watching that level of misery, because let's be frank, the Red Sox or the Yankees are not winning the World Series. Neither one of these teams is good enough to win the World Series to take on what's on the other side of the bracket. Phillies, Brewers, Cubs, Dodgers. Yeah. All 4 of those teams are beating Red Sox or the Yankees if they were to make the World Series. So I'm under no guise that the Red Sox are hoisting anything this year, but it's been fun. Okay. Roman Anthony, by the way, could play in the divisional series. If Boston gets past the Yankees, Boston against Toronto, they may have Roman Anthony back, which would be absolutely epic to get that kid back at the top of the lineup to take on a team like the Blue Jays, who mash at home but can't play on the road. If the Red Sox can split, they can win the series by taking games 3 and 4 in Fenway. That is possible to get to the American League Championship Series, which would be amazing. And Boston against Seattle would be something to watch. Like, that would be incredible to see which team. What's the number? $3, $4? How big of a favorite would Seattle be against the Red Sox? Because Boston has owned teams out of the West when it comes to playoff matchups. It'd be really interesting. But so, yeah, okay. Ross Randall, I'm with you. I'd take it too. Take losing to Seattle or the NL over the Yankees. Of course. Yeah. This would be a huge chance. 1-0 Cleveland still. We're going to the bottom of the second. I just think this is an opportunity for the Red Sox youngsters to get so much experience and talent, and test their talent in the postseason. And Crochet passed with flying colors. Let's see what Bayo does. Let's see. Oh, I don't mind that bet today. First 5 Yankees. Money line. Don't mind that. Or that's run line, I guess. Run line. I don't mind that. That's possible. I might prefer money line, but it's probably pretty expensive to bet the money line on the Yankees today. Bayo, I think, gets hit. I do. And I don't think Rondon does. So I think we're headed to a game 3. And I think that's a really dangerous spot for the Red Sox to be. I mean, it's a really dangerous spot. I wish they could throw Crochet every day. But, he threw 117 pitches. He is not pitching again in this series. And then finally, the Reds are dead. I don't care who the Reds pitch. I don't care who the Reds have at bat. The Reds are dead. Okay? This is a bad matchup. This is a bad matchup. It's not going to be good. So let's make it official with just the picks. All right, as I told you, I'm taking Cubs money line here against the Padres. The Padres could win, but I just don't think they've got it in them to go to Wrigley in that environment. That building is going to be buzzing today. That's going to be a lot of fun to be at Wrigley today. And the Padres need to score at least 4 runs. The Padres don't score 4. The Padres can't win in my mind. They lose the game. And then Dodgers run line. I can't, for the life of me, I cannot sit here and jump up and down and go, yes, this is a bet that I would make. I would take the Reds to stay live. I think they got a shot to be a part of this. I just don't think it's possible. Look, the Reds, unfortunately, are just getting fed to the wolves because the Dodgers have gotten to the place. They won the championship last year. Being the defending champs, it's always about the playoffs. It's always about, and the regular season becomes like a boredom thing. You aren't jumping up and down about it. You're just like, whatever. I'm not in love with it. Right. So, I don't know. I think it's a chance to jump in right now. It's a chance, I think, to be, I think you have a chance if you're the Dodgers to win, set the rotation up and get ready for the Phillies. And the fact that, if you're a Brewers fan or a Cub fan, the Cubs win today. So the winner of the other side of the bracket, the fact that you can come out of that 5-game series and not have to go through both the Dodgers and the Phillies and one of those two teams are out is such a big break and such a big advantage to have that happen. So that's why, I have tickets on the Padres, Cubs, and the Brewers. All of them. Tickets on all 3 of them. National League pennant, and the World Series for the Brewers. I want the Brewers to make the World Series. But if they get beat by the Cubs, which I think was that on this show or a different show? Cub fans are licking their chops at getting the Brewers because they know about the ineptitude of the Brewers in the playoffs. So Cub fan feels like they've got, their team up against Milwaukee after going through a playoff series against the Padres, that they've got something to do here, that their team's going to be live, that their team's going to win. Okay. Well, let's see. I like the Brewers a lot, but let's see what ends up happening with Quinn Priester and company for the Brewers. And I hope the Brewers get past, but I've got a ticket on the Cubs just in case if the Cubs wind up getting in there. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Yamamoto isn't the best. Sure. But the pitching for the Dodgers is not why they're going to win the World Series again. It's their offense. They scored 10 runs yesterday. They're going to score probably 6, 7, 8 today. The Reds just can't keep them off the scoreboard. That lineup is too crazy. It's too potent. And Shohei is so locked in. He is so locked in. We're 2-0 so far this week with prop bets. So let's see if we can keep the streak going. All right, I'm not going to lie. I had a hard time finding one today. And I was bouncing around for a variety of thoughts as to what I would jump in on. And I'm actually kind of surprised at this number, that Ohtani's total bases is 1.5. I was surprised at this. The over 1.5 total bases for Ohtani is minus 135 or minus 140 at most books. I know it's a little juicy, but we don't need him to hit a home run. I just need either 2 singles or I need a double out of Ohtani to go over 1.5 total bases. That just seems to be too easy to me. And so I'm going to go with the low hanging fruit and just go, okay, Ohtani's not pitching and he hit 2 home runs yesterday. mean, he looks like he's not slowing down. I don't think he's going to. Yes, Long Island Mike's. They changed it up on me. It's Mize, not Flaherty. Yes, which is fine. It's still 1-0 Guardians. I bet action, so it doesn't matter. It didn't matter who's pitching. It matters obviously for the handicap, but it doesn't matter for the bet, unfortunately, because I bet action. So we're in on the Guardians regardless. So can't do anything about that. Yeah, long travel. They could come out better today, Zach. That's possible. They could, but give me Shohei over 1.5 total bases for Ohtani coming up here for today. All right, let's talk some football. How about the Browns? The Browns are going overseas, and the Browns have decided to make a move with their quarterback position. They are benching Joe Flacco, and they are naming Dylan Gabriel the starting quarterback for the game on Sunday against the Vikings. If you were with us yesterday, this is exactly what I said should happen. I couldn't figure out, and I still can't figure out, why you would be even considering playing Joe Flacco for the rest of the year. It makes no sense. I'm not even saying that you've got Gabriel as the quarterback for this team long term. You just need to find out. Like, you know what Joe Flacco is. You know what Joe Flacco is going to give you. And he scored 10 points on the road against the Lions. Now you're on the road again, overseas in England, to London at Tottenham Stadium to take on a Vikings team that is ferociously mad about the way they started that game last week in Ireland. They lost the game 24-21, but Carson Wentz played much better in the second half. The defense played much better in the second half. And you know the Vikings are looking at this as a must-win. Like, they have got to win. They stayed over there. They didn't come back. So they're going to be all adjusted to the time change and everything else. So it just feels like it's a really bad spot. And I've got a Brian Flores coached defense up against a rookie making his first start ever on the road overseas. Yikes. So I'll be very curious to see where the number winds up closing for this game on Saturday. People tend to not like to bet this game, but the Vikings were favored by 2.5 last week and lost the game outright. They're favored by 3.5 now, and it's a rookie. Now, if you buy the Dylan Gabriel will get the football out and the running game will be better and the offensive line will block better and the Vikings may not get to Gabriel, he's got a quick release. We know that. His arm strength is not the highest, but he's very accurate with the football. He can throw the deep ball. We saw it during preseason football. Gabriel looked good. He looked like the part. So, and he's bounced around. I mean, Gabriel played for a million schools, but everywhere he went, the dude can throw the rock. Like, straight up, he can throw the rock. So I think that's why the number hasn't moved all that much since Gabriel was announced. There's not that big of a change between Gabriel and Flacco, but I do think there is this question of like, let's see. Yeah, I do understand. I do understand that there is a big question about Shedeur Sanders, but it has a lot to do with the fact that he was projected to go high and he slipped, and his last name is obviously from his dad. So I don't know why, if you were the Browns, why you would play Sanders right now unless Gabriel was hurt. So if Gabriel's healthy, which by all accounts he is, Gabriel should be your starting quarterback, and Sanders should be your backup quarterback, and Flacco should be your emergency quarterback. Now, I'm not sure how the depth chart's going to go this weekend, but that's how I would do it, is let's play the kids. But the first guy up is Dylan Gabriel. He's the first guy that gets the start, okay? I don't think you can, have a logical conversation in that locker room and say we drafted Dylan Gabriel much higher than Shedeur Sanders, and we weren't looking to draft Shedeur Sanders because we passed on him through 4 rounds. We had 4 shots at drafting him, and we said no every time until finally the 5th round came around, and we were like, what the hell? Draft him. It's a value pick, right? We have him ranked much higher on our board, and he's sitting here with a 2nd round grade, and it's a 5th round pick. It's a good shot. Go ahead and grab him. So I'll be pretty curious to see how Gabriel fares, but he might be okay. I mean, Jerry Jeudy, if Jerry Jeudy catches the football, Jerry Jeudy was awful against the Lions. So if their receivers can actually hang on to the ball, the Browns offense might actually look like something. But, Ian, Texans are going to run all over Baltimore. Maybe. Texans, Baltimore I was looking at it this morning. What an interesting number. What an interesting game because of the leg injury to Lamar Jackson. And if Lamar can't run, Lamar is just a pocket passing quarterback, and he's a good one at that. The number has completely flipped. It's 1. The Texans are favored. The Ravens are home underdogs to the Houston Texans. There's a lot of groupthink going on right now. A lot of groupthink going on about a very angry team for the Ravens. Look, if the Ravens lose this game, their year is over. It's over. Like, this is the season. You can't open up 1-4. Like, I don't care if you're playing 17 games or not. You can't open up 1-4. Ask the Bengals about getting off to a really rocky start last year, and then what happens? You can get hot in October, November, December. That's great. But if you're opening up with 1 win in your first 5 games, you're in trouble. And you're not just in trouble. You're done. Like, that's it. See you later. No more. So can't see it. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Well, yeah, obviously, Eric, under, sure. But you got to be careful because the passing attack, Lamar's a pretty good passer. Even when he can't run, Lamar can really throw the rock around. I know that Texans defense is really good. Texans offense is not, but the Ravens defense is not very good. It's such an intriguing game. It's a complete intriguing, that chess match and how that's going to work out. That game has my attention more than any other game this weekend. That game will have my attention because I think it's such a unique game in the AFC. It has such a unique twist to it. And my team, the Patriots, don't play till Sunday night on the road against Buffalo. So I got all day, Sunday, all morning, all afternoon to just watch the league and not worry about the Patriots until they take on Buffalo later on tonight. So this is going to be, I can't wait to watch that game. It's going to be a fascinating game to watch. Let's talk some news of the industry. All right, news of the industry for us here today. And this story, well, there's 2 stories really, but they kind of dovetail together. So Massachusetts, the Gaming Commission, has released its findings from the data provided by the sports books due to limiting players who are winning at their books. This has been a topic that we have been on for months. This topic about limiting players and the CFTC and sports prediction markets are probably the 2 topics we've spent the most time on BVB over the last 2 years. And we just saw that Brian Quintez had his nomination pulled from the CFTC's, or to be the head of the CFTC by the White House. So that went well. So the guy they want to do, this is hysterical and this is real. The guy, they pulled the ex-head of Kalshi, Brian Quintez, to be the CFTC chair. And now they want to nominate the lead lawyer for Kalshi to be the head of the CFTC. That's not a joke. That's real. So we'll watch that a bit more as that unfolds. But Massachusetts came out and put this out. Data and analysis done for the Mass Gaming Commission indeed found that there is a trend of winning sports bettors getting limited and losing sports bettors getting limits raised. The Mass Gaming Commission is set to discuss the possibility of regulations, and we'll find out what happens today with this. But the commission sought to answer the question of whether a correlation exists between a player's stake factor and CLV, closing line value, whether there is a trend showing that players who demonstrate a tendency to win have their limits decreased, and players who demonstrate a tendency to lose have their limits increased. The data received from operators confirms that the answer to that question is yes. No speculation, no hyperbole. The answer is yes. Now, we've all known this forever, right? We've all known this for a million times about players who are getting limited. Winning gamblers getting limited. because we've seen them with the $1.72 max bet option. They have taken screenshots and put it all over the place. So this isn't like news. It's just now fact that this is happening. Now, we also saw yesterday a politician in New York put a bill into place that would not allow books to do this in the state of New York. New York Assemblyman Alex Borres has introduced a bill that would prevent sports books from limiting or banning winning players. Now, where does this go? I'm not sure. But what's weird about the answers I am seeing, and Spanky has written extensively on this, and the Bettor's Voice, also the organization that he heads, about trying to open a communication line between the books and players. I'm not sure if you can just say, hey, you can't ban anybody. But this is where I miss Dave entirely, because this is, this is his topic. And it's been the topic that him and I fought over the most. We went back and forth on this topic, and we never saw eye to eye on this topic. Normally we disagreed on like games, plays, and teams, but this topic we disagreed on extensively, because I can't figure out the line from the sports books. So the line is this: if you require us to take action from winning players, we cannot run our business. We are not capable of running a sports book if you require us to stop the practice of limiting or kicking out winning players. Now, Spanky, his suggestion is there has to be some happy medium. I'm not interested in a happy medium, and this doesn't affect me at all. I'm not dropping $10,000 on a game. That's not my brand, not what I'm doing, not how I gamble. But I think there's just in America, there is an issue of fairness. And I proposed this to Spanky, and he said this wouldn't work. But I still believe that if you take a bet at a certain number, if you take a bet for $10,000 on Jimmy, and John comes in and wants to bet $10,000, and you say, no, John, you win, so you get $5,000, I think that should be illegal. I believe that is discrimination. Now, you can tell me why, what is the basis of the discrimination, but it is still discrimination when you're choosing to take action from one player and denying it from another. I don't think that's right. So Spanky wants some middle. He wants a high and a low, that like, hey, you're going to take a maximum and a minimum. And if you're going to take action, here's where you're going to live. And I'm okay with that too. I think that's fair. But I think, as what someone said to me on Twitter, well, they need the whale player to be able to walk off the floor who just won $1 million playing Baccarat. You need that guy to be able to come in and drop $500,000 on a football game because he's going to lose. And then the book's going to make their money. And that's how they're able to liquidate the entire market across the entire book's portfolio. You need that whale to lose because the margins are too slim to operate a business when you're taking $25 bets all day long. Now, while I understand that, I think if you're going to take a $500,000 bet from somebody, you should be able to take a $500,000 bet from everybody. Like I just think you should be required to do that. And the answer I'm getting back from everybody is that would be the end of the legalized sports gambling market in America if that was allowed. There's something wrong with that. Okay? There's something wrong with the business if that's the case. Because I understand that we have put sports gambling into a very different place where it used to be. It used to be the thing in the back, right? You got to walk through the whole casino to get to the book, right? All the way in the back. Well, now you have companies where it's in the front. It's the only thing they do. That's it. They're a book. That's it. There is no floor. There's no casino. There is no pool. There's no nightclub. There's no restaurants. There's no rooms. It's just a sports book, and that's it. And they think the margins are big enough to make money. And the answer that most people have come back with have said, no, it's not. You're not capable of doing that. You can't operate a business like this. So you must offer the parlays, and you must limit or kick out winning players. because they're going to upset the apple cart and they're going to make your margins shrink. And if they shrink your margins, now you're in trouble. Now you can't make money. And now if you're a publicly traded company, you got problems with your investors. There's just something that doesn't square with me in all of this. We'll see what Mass says today. We'll probably do it again tomorrow. But let's see what the commission comes back with from a regulation standpoint on the sports books operating in Massachusetts. Because whatever they say, I think you'll see it be picked up in other states. Maybe Jersey, maybe New York. Probably not Nevada. But other states you're going to see follow suit if Mass comes down with real hardcore data to back up whatever legislation or rules they want to implement on the books when it comes to winning players and losing players. If you guys are with us live, don't move. More on this topic on the other side. We'll get to some more football topics as well. If you're watching live on or watching on the recording on Sports Grid, thank you for being here. It is a Bet Chris Arizona Thursday coming up tomorrow. Thursday night, Niners and the Rams. Good game to break down coming up tomorrow. For the rest of you guys on Twitter, X, and YouTube, stick around. Bonus time starts now. Oh. Jimmy football. Did the White House guy say a guy can't be on the betting board? I don't know what that question means, Jimmy. Can you rephrase that? What do you mean? There is something that happened with that. There is, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm letting this whole thing like shake out on this because the CFTC for the first time acknowledged that sports prediction marketplaces could, should, or might have to shut down in states in which the states have a big problem with the sports prediction market operating inside of its state without paying taxes, without being there. So like California doesn't want it. Texas doesn't want it. But the public comment in the legal fight that Kalshi has made for the last couple of years is that if you were to ban Kalshi's sports prediction marketplace offerings in one state, that would violate the CFTC's laws nationally, and that you cannot pick and choose. All you can do, it's either all 50 or it's zero. It's all or nothing, according to Kalshi's lawyers. So again, I'm not a lawyer, but what was issued by the CFTC, again, without a head, there was no head of the CFTC, but those running the CFTC, what they said about sports prediction marketplaces for the first time, they at least showed some daylight between themselves and Kalshi in the sports prediction marketplaces because certain states might cause them to shut down their operation. So that blows up a big legal argument that Kalshi has publicly. Again, not a lawyer, so take that with a grain of salt, but it is a very interesting situation. Do you mean Brian Quintez being kicked off, being pulled down? Because Brian Quintez was pulled back by the White House. He was the guy from Kalshi that was supposed to be the head of the CFTC, and he's been pulled back. Yeah, Brian Quintez. Yeah. So his name's been withdrawn by the White House. So now we go into the next phase. And the next phase is from a guy who used to run Kalshi to the legal head of Kalshi. Is what the White House wants. Which I asked on Twitter, what is the damn obsession with Kalshi? Like, why does everybody associated with the CFTC have to come from Kalshi? Oh, that's why. Oh, okay. Do we see the game yet? Like, do we see this? Like, do we see what's going on? It's a mess. It's an absolute mess as to what's going on with all of this. But the sports prediction markets, aka sports gambling, the more that we see these companies, there's more and more companies coming online left and right and trying to say that sports prediction marketplaces, it's not sports gambling. But anybody with two eyes and two ears and a brain can say that it is sports gambling because Kalshi is now offering parlays. Like, again, they've run around and operated so amazingly undetached from reality and allowed to operate in this fantasy land with the government doing nothing to stop it and the government not watching it at all. And there are numerous states and numerous people who are starting to say, wait. And if Kalshi ever gets ruled, if a sports prediction marketplace ruling ever comes down and says that they're illegal, The number of people on LinkedIn who are going to have egg on their faces is going to be an epic shit show to watch, because there are people who are like staking their life that this is legal, that what they are doing is totally fine, that they can keep doing this. That, again, I'm not into it. The derivative market versus a open market versus what a sports bet actually is versus what a prediction wager actually is. I mean, again, I think if we're taking politics out of this and taking the president's son away from all of this, and we're just talking about walking like a duck and quacking like a duck, I mean, this is Duck Hunter. This should be easy. These ducks are flying around like crazy, and the government should be able to shoot them down real fast and say, yeah, that's sports gambling. You can't do that. Prop bets, parlays. Again, the biggest reason why, we talked about this yesterday, but the biggest reason why Kalshi might be in trouble is because DraftKings and FanDuel combined lost $7 billion in value after Kalshi started offering parlays. People freaked out and went, wait. Is this a sports prediction marketplace 50-state solution? The one thing that DraftKings and FanDuel have, they've got the parlay market, and folks can parlay, and we know how much people love to parlay. I'm sitting there. I told this story on Instagram, but I'm a loyal customer. If you do me right, I stay with you. So my cell provider, I had Singular. I got Singular in 1999, and then they were purchased by AT&T. And I have stayed with AT&T through the DirecTV days, like 27 years. I was a 27-year customer. And AT&T is kind of shoddy up by where I live in Vegas. The coverage isn't great. So I've always thought about maybe switching, because I've heard that Verizon's much better at my house. So I went into Verizon. They gave me a really good deal. You know, they this is not an endorsement of Verizon, but they just, you know, they all suck. All of them are blood hungry. You know, they're bloodthirsty vampires, all of them. But I switched to Verizon. So I'm sitting there with the guy who's going ahead and switching, and they always ask me, like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a sports gambling content creator. It's the line I use to people. Every time in the past 2 months where I have said that line, that I am a sports gambling content creator, the first question is, when's the last parlay? What's the biggest parlay you ever hit? How many parlays do you play a day? What are you parlaying today? Like, not when I'm betting today. It was the same question when the kids from Utah at Rampart asked me, when I said the same thing. Like, what do you do? I was like, I'm a sports gambling content creator. Whoa, really? Okay. So, like, what are you parlaying tomorrow? What am I? What? I don't bet parlays. Really? Yeah. Why do you? Well, because it's fun. Sure. Do you win? I mean, a little. Like, what? Why don't you just bet those 4 games straight? Don't you go 3-1 all the time? Well, yeah, but then, like, it's only $20, and so you just do it again. And I said, you guys are the lifeblood of the industry. You guys are keeping the lights on. Is that mentality of betting? The guy at Verizon pulled out a 15-leg parlay that he placed 2 weeks ago, a $5 parlay that paid out $17,000. And he showed me that it missed on 2 legs of the 17, and he was pissed off that he had gotten 15 right, but 2 wrong. 15 games right, but 2 wrong. I was like, hold on a second. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? It's like, why would you do that? Why are we? I was like, lottery tickets are fun, I guess. He's like, what do you mean by a lottery ticket? I said, a lottery ticket. $5. You bet $5. It's a lottery ticket. Like, I said, you know what a scratchy is? He was like, no, like a scratch off ticket. It was like, oh, it's like, that's what that is. That will hit once every 2 years if you're lucky. But how much money are you going to lose until you get that one hit? So, I mean, that's the lifeblood of the industry. And yes, I completely agree with Rock. Most don't know what Singular is. Yes, that's true. That's how I'm 48, so I'm old. But like, that's the industry today. And that's why DraftKings and FanDuel lost $7 billion when Kalshi, a 50-state solution, as they called it, started taking parlays. And everybody who had their money in DraftKings and FanDuel and said, get it out now. Sell, sell, sell. $7 billion in equity gone in a day. So if you want to know why, this happened, where the CFTC might be now a little more open to the idea of saying, hey, you can operate in some states, but you can't operate in them all, because there are some people who have big money invested in FanDuel and DraftKings who are now getting hurt by what Kalshi's doing. Because at the moment, Kalshi has no impact. They have a tiny, tiny, tiny slice of the overall sports gambling marketplace in America. Most folks have no idea what a sports prediction market is, and they don't trust it, so they're not going to go ahead and get involved with it, at least not yet. But it is an interesting situation to see what happens if the big boys get hurt. They got enough clout to start swinging back. And we all thought that DraftKings and FanDuel, they were going to get involved with sports prediction markets, right? Like DraftKings bought out the company Railbird, right? They bought that out. There was a merger. I forget who FanDuel merged with, but FanDuel absorbed a licensed company as well. And up to this point, they said they weren't going to offer sports gambling. They weren't going to offer sports prediction marketplaces, but they're going to offer it on other things. So it's a fascinating conversation because of how corrupt it all is, all out in public, and how it's just the politics is incredible about the whole thing behind it. It's got such a weird twist to it, and it's not in the mainstream news, and no one's really talking about it but the sports gambling people like us, because we know it looks crazy. And so like guys like, Brubaker and Ruddock and, all the guys that write Gauker, all of our guests have come on to talk about that stuff. And they all write great newsletters. It's like every morning you open it up, it's a new thing. It's a new headline. I'll quote this because I thought it was hysterically funny. Whose newsletter had this headline? Let's see. Ruddock's newsletter, straight to the point. The news never ends. That was the headline. The news never ends. The CFTC breaks its silence on prediction markets, and it wasn't great news, nor was it bad news for Kalshi and others who are offering sports contracts. His whole thing is on prediction markets. Then he gets into the Mass Gaming Commission, talking about limits. He does get into that. But it's every day. Every day there's a new headline about all of this. Very, very interesting. Okay, thank you. There we go. Beyond Play. Okay, thank you. That's what they absorbed to get a hold of that. So, first and third, 1-0 Tigers still. Sorry, 1-0 Guardians still, but the Tigers threatening 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning, and it looks like that's a pitching coach coming out to have a conversation here. So, still 1-0, but Tigers threatening here in the top of the 4th inning in Game 2 of the best of 3 wild card series. Guys, we're back tomorrow on a Thursday. Looking forward to talking some football. Thursday night, Rams and the 49ers. We'll get into that with Adam Bjorn on a Bet Chris Arizona Thursday, plus a full look at everything happening in the NFL. Evan Abrams, Week 5 NFL primer from the Action Network is awesome this week. There's so many good things to talk about tomorrow. We'll get into all of it. Big football show coming up tomorrow, and we could have 1, 2, 3, 4 game 3s. Let's see how many game 3s we have tomorrow during the program as well. Big sports day tomorrow. Hope to see you all tomorrow, 1:00 Eastern time for the Thursday episode of the Bostonian versus the Book.